Assalamu alaikum, I'm Aisha and you're watching SAMAA News. Here are today's headlines.
US Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says military operations against Iran would not become an endless war as US and Israeli strikes entered a third day. During a briefing, the Pentagon chief said it was up to President Trump to decide the length of the military campaign, adding that the goal is to destroy Tehran's missiles, navy and security infrastructure, and deny it a nuclear weapon. He acknowledged the campaign will take time and that more US casualties are expected, honoring 4 American service members killed so far. The US military also acknowledged that Kuwait's air defenses mistakenly shot down 3 American F-15E fighter jets during an Iranian attack.
Saudi Arabia's state oil giant Aramco has shut its Ras Tanura refinery following a drone strike, after Tehran launched strikes across the region in response to the US-Israeli attack on Iran. An Iranian drone strike targeted the major Saudi oil facility, triggering a small fire at one of the kingdom's most critical refining hubs. An industry source said it was shut as a precautionary measure, and the situation is under control.
Iran's National Security Council Secretary Ali Larijani denies reports of renewed talks with the United States, calling President Donald Trump's actions delusional and accusing him of turning America first into Israel first. Larijani rejected Wall Street Journal claims of negotiations via Oman, saying Trump's military operations risked American lives to further Israel's goals. He emphasized that Iran's armed forces did not initiate aggression and that the Iranian people are defending themselves. Earlier, Trump expressed willingness to engage with Iran's surviving leadership amid rising tensions. Israeli airstrikes pounded Beirut's southern suburbs early Monday, killing 10 people, after Hezbollah launched missiles and drones toward Israel in retaliation for Iran's supreme leader's martyrdom. The bombardment, concentrated in Dahiyeh, a Hezbollah stronghold, prompted hundreds of thousands of Lebanese civilians to flee, creating chaos across parts of Beirut during Ramadan. Roads were clogged with residents escaping the attacks as Israel ordered evacuations from dozens of villages in southern and eastern Lebanon. Following the killing of Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, senior US officials remain doubtful that US and Israeli operations will trigger near-term regime change. President Donald Trump called on Iranians to seize this moment and take back your country, but intelligence assessments question whether Iran's opposition can topple the long-standing theocratic system. Officials also noted uncertainty over whether new Iranian leaders would adopt a different approach to nuclear negotiations. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer announced that the UK has granted the United States permission to use British bases for defensive strikes against Iranian missiles. The decision follows Iranian attacks targeting airports and hotels, hosting British nationals. Starmer emphasized that the UK was not involved in the recent US-Israel operation that killed Iran's supreme leader Ali Khamenei, and stressed the country remains committed to diplomacy and a negotiated nuclear settlement. British fighter jets are already engaged in coordinated defensive operations. Meanwhile, Qatar has announced halting liquefied natural gas production as Iranian strikes on Gulf states triggers shutdowns across the region. Qatar supplies about 20% of the world's LNG. State-owned Qatar Energy is set to declare force majeure after drone attacks on facilities at Ras Laffan. The disruptions have added pressure to global energy markets as the conflict enters a third day. French President Emmanuel Macron has said that his country will increase the size of its nuclear arsenal and harden its deterrence model amid growing global instability. Speaking from a submarine base in Brittany, Macron warned that the world is entering a period of geopolitical upheaval with a rising risk of conflicts crossing the nuclear threshold.
India and Canada have unveiled a series of agreements spanning critical minerals, clean technology, and nuclear energy. Speaking in New Delhi alongside Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi described the renewed engagement as a turning point, saying ties between the two countries have gained new energy, mutual trust, and positivity. The two countries announced a long-term uranium supply agreement to support India's expanding nuclear power ambitions, alongside cooperation on small modular reactors and advanced nuclear technologies. Pakistan and the International Monetary Fund have decided to continue their ongoing economic review talks virtually due to the prevailing security situation. The IMF delegation left after holding initial meetings, and all remaining sessions will now take place online. The second phase of the third economic review talks between Pakistan and the International Monetary Fund began in Islamabad. The IMF review mission, led by Mission Chief Eva Petrova, had held an inaugural meeting with Pakistan's economic team at a private hotel in the capital. That's all for now. For more updates, visit www.samaa.tv. Thank you for watching SAMAA News.